Well, with starting out from what we did last year and going through a lot of process of learning as we went, we started out receiving the trailer, and a lot of my kids worked on it last year that was on it this year. So they were excited about it. Um, it was a little problem with being the only teacher. Um, a lot of my kids were divided up in other classes, so I didn't have them all like in a group class. So getting those kids involved in it, allowing them to go and work on it, and then getting my other kids up to par where they had to do a lot of basic instruction, just understanding tools and all. So it was a lot of learning process for the kids. It was good that I had some advanced kids, but yet still I had a lot of other kids that were younger. We did the flooring on the trailer, insulated it, did some things like that. But then when it came down to the wall construction, things along that line, we had to step back and build some examples over in the other building, in our other shop, just to get them kind of acclimated to tools. Okay. A lot of my kids were younger, and most of them had never even handled hand tools even before.
You may have answered a couple of these questions. You know, another question was, why did you do this? Why would you do such a project?
Well, in all these years of teaching, I've always thought that whenever you can do something hands-on, the kids enjoy it so much better. Over all the years that I've taught, I've had kids come back and say, you know, I remember this more than anything at all because it's actually something I can carry home with me. The kids don't get a lot of that experience. You know, us growing up, we did that all the time at home.
Right.
Now, everything is such a throwaway society. The kids think if something breaks, you throw it away and go get something new. Mm-hmm. Well, now that they're able to customize furniture, customize projects to fit their own needs, it has helped them a lot to understand how things are put together. Doing this tiny house allowed kids to understand all the way from the start to the finish on how their house is put together. And it's helped them so much to understand. And we'll get into the NTI later on, but this has gone as far as kids going home and going, hey, I think I can fix that. Mm-hmm. And it's amazed some of my parents to the fact that, hey, they've actually been able to come home, make this to practical purposes. So this is another reason. I would have kept doing this 30 years ago.
Right.
We've done other projects like this, but we've never had the funding that we've gotten now. You know, we've built little tool sheds and storage buildings, things like that, but not to this, I guess, magnitude.
This is a whole project in one, and it takes it from top to bottom, and the whole house, top to bottom, in a small project. So it's a great opportunity, isn't it?
Oh yes, it is. I mean, it's something else to continue on.
Okay, you kind of answered a couple of other questions about how it works out for you. It seemed like it's working out real good, and how the students learn. You basically said they're taking this knowledge home with them and applying it in real life. What did you learn from this project?
That it's a big project.
It's a handful.
It is. It really needs to be divided up in different context, you know, different groups. It could be handled, you know, so much better versus one teacher, but two or more teachers together working on different aspects of it, you know, could really benefit from this. It is a lot for one teacher.
Right. I think of the 6 we've got being built. Of course, you're in a one teacher situation now, but we only have one of the school that has that situation. Everybody else is a 2 or 3 teacher program. Yeah. So I can see how that is a big help, having other classes work together, and it also gives you, I think, a different approach to where you can teach teamwork, working between the different groups. So that you're taking away from that opportunity with a one teacher program sometimes.
Well, I don't know of any contractor out there that single-handedly himself goes and builds a house all by himself anymore. They call in all the different trades.
Right.
So, I know you've got different timelines of when things are going to be done, but to the point of one person coming in and building the house themselves, that's kind of a lost art. And plus there's so much technology now with new homes. So, that makes a difference there. But it's still very exciting for the kids because they get to actually see something. And when we pulled out the finished house last year, the kids that worked on it, that came up to KVEC when we were displaying it and all, I mean, they had a self sense of pride about them. They were able
Absolutely.
to sit back and look, hey, we did this.
Right. And that's one of the great things about this project, I think, is like you said, the students take pride and they make it their own. And Desi used a term of a kid that said one time they have swag, like the ball players. They go down the hall with swag. They're proud of what they're doing, and they like to show the other students what they're doing. I guarantee the other schools, the other students at your school were really impressed with what's going on up on the hill there.
Yep.
So it's great to be able to convey that too with this project.
I've had numerous students come up that for various reasons, and they look at it and go, "You all did that? You all built this?" Some of the kids will answer before I will. Yeah, I was the one that did this and that, and we've been doing this. And of course, they bring their girlfriends, boyfriends up. They got to show them what they've done.
Probably a freshman or sophomore too has come by and say, "Hey, I'm going to take your class next year."
Yes.
Guarantee it.
Yep. That has opened it up. This is why I love our projects and what we do up there. And like I said, when I get a student, usually as a freshman or sophomore, they will stay till their senior year.
Right.
Once they get invited into it and they see what's going on, even all the years I've been there, I usually keep them for the most part.
Guarantee.
So,
it's a great project, great opportunity for those kids.
yes.
Anything you'd like to add, Bernadette?
No, I think you all pretty much covered it.
Well, we'd like to thank you, Mr. Heberlin, and for the tiny house presentation, and we'll cut and go to the other one.
Okay.
And thank you, sir.
Sounds good.
We
Thank
appreciate everything you do up in Ashland.
Yes, we do, for sure.
you. We appreciate all you all done for us. Thanks a lot.
All righty. Do you need to turn that off, Bernadette, and start again?
Yeah, let me pause it.
It won't.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, and this, again, this is, I'm Danny Vance here at KVEC and speaking with Randy Heberlin from Ashland. And Mr. Heberlin, just want to talk a little bit about your tiny.
Danny, wait just a minute and I'll let you start over. Let me hide me.
Maybe you ought to hide me.
No,
Yeah.
but I do want to hide me.
Okay.
Let's see, how do I do that? Well, let's see. Hold on just a second. I have to figure it out. I did it the other day. But if you hide self view.
There you go.
Okay, now you boys are free. You just got yourselves.
We still see you.
Yeah. We still looking at you.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yep.
think it'll record what, let me turn my camera off. How's that?
I ought to do it.
That should help
Turn your,
me.
maybe mute yourself.
There you go.
You better
It's
mute
hard
your,
to mute me.
better mute your mic. Yeah, she's muted.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Hi, I'm Danny Vance here at KVEC with the Tiny House Build It Forward project, talking to Randy Heberlin, the instructor at Ashland. How are you, Mr. Heberlin?
I'm doing just fine.
Good. Things going great in Ashland, huh?
Yes, for the most part.
Little slow right now, though, isn't it?
Well, it is and it isn't. With all the work we're doing from home, contacting students one-on-one.
I'm hearing from teachers it's a harder job now than what they had going to the classroom.
Yes, it is. I think so.
We want to talk just a little bit about that, Mr. Heberlin, on your kind of what's going on now. How are you, we've got these NTI days and all. How are you handling that? How's it working out for you?
Well, the first 2 weeks that we were off, we were scheduled to send stuff home, things like that, something for the kids to do. What I did was I talked to my kids on a Friday before we dismissed, and I told them, I said, I want you to take what you've learned up here and just something around the house, I want you to build something with it. It could be anything that you wanted to build. You could build it out of cardboard, but my purpose was I did not want you to have to go and buy things at the store.
Right.
I wanted you to go look in your junk drawers. And I said, everybody's got a junk drawer. They've got a garage, and just go and try to build something. It doesn't have to be anything purposely, anything like that, because I don't want you to go out and spend money.
Right.
So it was amazing that the kids that sent things back to me, now we're having them send pictures, email them to us. We look at them on our email. So my email is pretty well full. But the things they sent back to me was, just stuff that they got to go out in the garage. Some of the kids got to go out and do a little brazing. They had their parents help them, their dad. I said, that's great. I love it when you get the family involved in it.
Sounds great.
Some of them has done a little blueprint of their house. That they like architecture, so they took cardboard, laid out a little blueprint, did a little 3D model of their house. Some of them took just scrap pieces of cardboard, paper, pencils, and things like that, and made a variety of different things.
Good. Sounds like a great project.
They're learning to work with their hands, and they're learning to use what they've got.
Are you hearing anything from your kids like, man, I wish we were back in school so I could work on that tiny house?
Oh, yes. Yeah, they're getting, a lot of the students that we have up there are fairly active students. We've done a lot this year with fixing four-wheelers. They bring little projects in from home and stuff like that. So they're the type of kids that they're not going to sit at home and play a lot of video games.
Right.
They're the ones that are out working, going out on farms, stuff like that. So they're not really used to sitting around doing paperwork. They do not like the paperwork aspect of it.
So I'll bet they're missing that project big time, aren't they? By getting it started and then now maybe not being able to finish it. So
Yeah.
I guarantee they're a little disappointed there.
I've had some text messages of students that says, "Hey, do you think we could meet up there after during school and just work on it as a small group?"
Yeah.
Well, they've closed our school down, so they would frown upon something like that.
I'd say so. It's probably not a good idea.
No, it's not.
What about like seniors? Have you heard any comments from them? Because, the realization is now they probably won't get to see this thing finished while they're in school. Do you hear some issues there with them or concerns?
Well, they've kind of, I guess,
Accepted it.
Understood and accepted all this stuff. So, sorry.
Sorry.
But they have more or less sat back and figured it out that we're not going to be able to do that. So the good thing about it is some of my local contractors have been able to contact these students that are going into the union fields, the carpenters union, plumbers, boiler makers. A few of those people, they've understood what's going on too. So they've kind of contacted them and are asking them if they want to come out and start their apprenticeship programs a little early. So
That's great.
Yes.
That's great. You have the luxury of that carpenters union just down the road a few miles that none of the rest of these schools up here in Eastern Kentucky have. So that's a great opportunity for those students down there to be that close and be able to slip right over into that career.
Yes.
Do they do anything, if that's a carpenters union, do you teach any of the NCCER curriculum at your school, or do you go more on that carpenters union type of curriculum?
We did the NCCER.
Did you? Okay.
Yes.
Are you able to do much of that now through your prep work for that on this NTI, or is that pretty tough?
Well, we pre-cut it already.
Okay.
We were doing it the second semester, and we did it last year. Some of the kids took their certifications, passed them. But we hadn't gotten into it much this year when all this started.
I didn't get a complete hardly much of it, I'd say.
Yes.
What would you tell parents? Say a parent wants to know, hey, what's going on? How are you teaching my kids? And what positive thing could you tell them about what's going on now with NTI, that they're still involved? Sounds like you've already answered it really with the little projects you've got going on. And those sound good.
I have expanded this project since we've been out a little longer. Now we're in our 4th week, to the point of I've asked them to keep a journal, a daily journal, as to what they're doing as far as projects goes, working around the house, things that they can do at home. I've had a few kids some of them's been building decks at home. They've been building fences, bird houses. They've been a variety of different projects that they've done. And the comments I get is, hey, I can do this now.
Right.
You know, so I'm sending them back, telling them that I said, you know, you've always been able to do this. You just didn't have the knowledge at first, and now you know where to get the knowledge and what to do with it. So the parents are very instrumental in looking, hey, he actually wants to do something like this.
Right. Well, this project like this sparks an interest in those kids, doesn't it? First thing, it gets them interested, and then they learn how to do all these things, and then they tie it to real life situations. So it's a win-win any way you can look at it, really.
Yes, it really is, because, you know, if you're not ever introduced into something, how do you know whether you like it or you don't?
That's true. And that's one thing this project does, doesn't it? It really gets these kids hands-on with all aspects and gets them interested.
Yes.
How many of your kids probably, would you say, percentage has internet at home that you can do this NTI online? Most of them have that now? Most
of them, I'm probably up around 85%.
Okay.
You know, we do have that luxury of being in a town situation in the city. So we're pretty fortunate as far as that goes.
Well, that's great.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you the same question I asked a couple other guys. I'll put you on the spot here. It's like, you know, actually right now we're looking at more of an online type learning, teaching situation. How are we going to teach a kid to cut a rafter without a 2x6 and a saw in his hand?
Well, you know, there's all kinds of YouTube videos have gone wild. True. You know, with all this stuff.
Right.
You know, why can't we do the same thing similar to it? Now, are they actually going to be able to purchase the material, the tools that we've got available for them? You know, they might not, but there again, if they're interested in cutting a 2x4 and, you know, doing stuff, there's nothing wrong with purchasing a cheap handsaw, right, getting a 2x4 and start cutting it. And then all of a sudden, okay, let's advance to a skill saw. Let's go into a table saw. Mm-hmm. You know, I tell the kids all the time, you get what you pay for. When you're going to buy tools and things like that, if you're a weekend hobbyist, you don't need to go out and buy the most expensive tool on the market. You don't need to go to Snap-on, places like that. But you do want a good quality tool. Right. You know, so I tell them all the time, just, you know, think about what you're going to do. And if you're going to do this one time and not do it ever again, then you might want to borrow the tool somewhere. You know, so maybe there's a place that we could do online loaning of tools. Mm-hmm. You know, we set up a facility that they come up and borrow a handsaw. Well,
we're going to have to be creative, aren't we? We're going to have to tie the online concepts and the theories and maybe tie some videos in there and then look for alternative ways to get some hands-on, I think, with these kids and until this thing blows over.
Yes.
And sounds like you've got some good ideas, and that's what I'm trying to do, get ideas from everybody so we can just spread it around and try to help everybody be more efficient at what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, this is a whole new ballpark.
It is a new ballpark.
Never gone through this.
No, it's kind of hard on us. I call us vocational teachers to start looking at an online approach. It's a little more difficult because we're not used to that. We're used to everything hands-on pretty well.
Yes.
But we'll adapt and make the best we can of it.
That's right.
Well, I appreciate it, Mr. Heberlin, and hopefully things will get rolling soon and you get that tiny house finished and get these kids back to work. But I sure appreciate talking to you today. And if there's anything you need, just give us a holler.
Well, same here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.